It's been a little while, but we have an update on the free-to-play, and we're going to pull a Prism. Hello, everybody. I'm Roadblock, and this is a Raid Shadow Legends video. We have a little bit of an update, but there's not much to tell because I pivoted from the previous strategy that we had talked about. Just temporarily. We always want to be playing Raid with intent, and we want to make sure that we are pursuing what's relevant in the moment. So the next big step for me is to get my second 6-star. And you're like, okay, Roadblock, you've had this account for several weeks. You still don't have another 6-star? Like I said, I'm not going crazy on this account. I don't want to say cheating, but I'm not logging in and playing it for 8 hours a day. I'm playing it when I have a little bit of time, and I have 2 other accounts, right? So I'm hopeful that this will kind of be realistic to a lot of what you guys experience as free-to-play players, especially in the early game. Listen up, I just got a new promo link that you can use to follow along with me on my latest free-to-play adventure and get a free Elenaril, as well as 3 more powerful epics as you level up. Here's how to do it. Log out of Plarium Play and uninstall. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Go to your inbox and claim your first champ. Don't miss out on your chance to get Elenaril right after signing up, as well as Fayne, Uugo, and Tagoar as you progress through Raid. Click on my link right now and let's crush this together. One of the arguments that often happens when I do a free-to-play challenge, or when I've done other free-to-play accounts in the past, is that I'm dedicating multiple hours to the game each day, and I'm getting massive leads over the casual player. So this is meant to emulate somewhat of a casual experience for people who have jobs, families, hobbies, friends, all those friends. Wow, that sounds mean. I don't mean it that way, but you guys get the gist, right? I want to make sure that this is realistic to people that are out there doing a lot of other things. So we do not yet have our second 6-star. We are not far from it. I still need to up Uugo to 5, but you can see I've got 3 pieces of food. I've got another piece of food ready to go, and my last one's going to be Jizzo, which is a champion that you get logging in. I don't think it pops up under the chase anymore because it's gone, but you do get Jizzo still, even with the free ones. I don't find Jizzo to be particularly good. I understand that some people may disagree and say, oh, you should use him for faction wars early or whatever, but that's just not my style. I almost always feed Jizzo. Don't necessarily take that as advice. That is my approach. I don't know that I would coach like new players to do that, but I just know firsthand that I'm not going to get anything out of using Jizzo. His kit's pretty bad. It just isn't really worth it for me to capitalize on him. I just don't see it, right? It's just not compelling enough for me early game. Now, I know I'm in the minority on that, but it just isn't interesting enough for me. Where some of the other champions that I have received that are epics, I do think there might be a very tiny use case for Grunch because of his cleanse. We might be able to get past certain bosses with in Doom Tower if I don't get a better cleanser, because this is on a really hefty, it's a 4-turn cooldown, but it is a full complete cleanse. I don't have anybody else that can do that at this time. So for me, he makes a lot more sense than a single target shield, which is really what Jizzo is bringing. And a counterattack, sure, but it just isn't, there's not enough there for me to want to pursue that champion. So again, personal preference there. Now, why have we pivoted away? Where has my energy been going? As you can clearly see, it's all gone. If I'm not leveling champions, what am I doing with my time? Well, the Frenzy tournament is where I've been spending all of my energy. You can see we're at 1,611 points. We needed 1,600 to collect these 40 crystals in order to pop one of these Prism Shards. These are very useful, even if the pool is relatively weak. And I would advise that as a free-to-play player, sure, you can high roll, but let's focus on the epics. Even if the epics are weak, the worst case scenario Maybe you get some food. Maybe you get a Faction Wars champion. It's basically a free Sacred Shard, just with a much smaller pool to pull from. And then, of course, you can high roll. You can get lucky. You could hit a really, really good legendary, potentially, or a bad legendary, but you could hit a legendary that might change the course and the direction of your game. So I am going to pull this Prism Shard, and I'm going to see what we get. I won't make you guys wait too much. I'll go ahead and jump into that now, and then we can do a quick review of the account afterwards, just so you guys don't get mad at me. How's that sound? We'll change it up. Let's see what we can get. Okay, epic. Okay, well, I'm not very familiar with Signy of High Shield, so let's look over the kit. 2 double hitter, chance of placing decreased resistance, heals this champion as they hit. AoE hit before attacking, has a chance to remove a random debuff from all allies. Okay. After the attack, has a chance of removing a random buff from all enemies. HP-based damage. Now, that's interesting. It's a 4-turn cooldown, so I'm not in love with it. But increased resistance, but the reflect damage on all allies for 2 turns is interesting. I don't think that it makes the cut without any other additional parts of the kit. When this champion is under a reflect damage buff and an enemy attempts to place a debuff, has a 20% chance to reflect the debuff back onto the attacker. This is interesting. I just don't see it being valuable enough to really make the cut, even for Faction Wars. Reflect damage can do a little bit, perhaps some Fire Knight progression. So maybe not an instant feed or anything like that, but I'm definitely not attached to that champion in any way, shape, or form. So let's go back to the tournament. I just want to take a look and see what the requirements are to get some of the relic materials. Yeah, I'm not going to put up points that high to get these relic materials, so we're just going to be done with the event dungeon. But on the upside of the event dungeon, we were able to collect more and more pieces of gear. A crit damage neck in Chronophage, which will give me 10% speed. Very, very solid. Did we get anything new? Yeah, we got a bunch of new Chronophage stuff and an accuracy banner for Kale. That's very good. What did we get for Uugo? Anything interesting? Some decent rings. But obviously, we could get that extra speed from Chronophage on Uugo, which is pretty good. What about Ezio? I just saw, yeah, we do have a bunch of Sacred Order stuff for Ezio. Attack banner isn't the worst if I can find some accuracy. Anything for Elenaril? Let's see. Accuracy banner with speed. It's only 4-star. So, but the farming did kind of help us out a little bit. We don't have a lot of relics to speak of. All the gemstones we've been getting have been from the reward calendar. My lethal, I got good pieces of lethal off of that, except, as you recall, I did delete one of those pieces because it rolled very, very poorly on a flat stat twice. Like, I re-rolled it and it rolled flat stat twice. So, but these are going to be potentially good pieces when the time comes. The crit rate gauntlets are very good early game. That's going to hopefully, especially with the extra 10% if I can complete the set. Then we have more crit rate on the shield, crit rate and crit damage on the weapon. So we should be able to get a reasonable ignore defense build out of those once I get a 4th piece. My hope is that maybe there will be more pieces to come in this reward calendar. But if not, the sooner, and it's going to not be this rotation, I'm sure, but the sooner that I can get to a point where I can kill Dark Fae, the sooner I can get more lethal. So those will be good pieces for the near future, but they're not going to help me out right now. I have 250 clan gold. I don't really have anywhere to spend that right. Ooh, we could get a guaranteed 6-star artifact, which is usually where I want to spend this. Now let's pause here. Let's do a little bit of free-to-play kind of advice and guidance. You do want to try and get these legendary champions. Now, the game has changed quite a bit. You get legendaries at a faster rate. I don't know that any of my free-to-plays ever used either Yakarl or Yannicka. Definitely not Yannicka. I have never used Yannicka on any of my accounts. Not even when they had that crazy Wixwell shield swapping team, if you guys remember that for Hydra. I never even bothered to build Yannicka. I was like, it's going to get nerfed, and it did. Yakarl, I think I used a little bit on my OG free-to-play, but overall, I just have never felt like either one of them is that worth investing in. I do, however, recommend you get them. Your luck could be entirely different than mine. The reason I'm so low on Yannicka is because I already have a spirit-based wave damaging nuker in Sun Wukong, and I don't think anyone's going to try and tell me Yannicka is better than Sun Wukong, right? That's just not true. So she doesn't really fill a niche on my account at all, other than Faction Wars. Very, very good in Faction Wars. AoE damage dealer, should be able to help you out there by ignoring shield buffs. So, and with her AoE hit, and I think she hits harder. Does she hit harder under Veil, or she just grants Veil? It's the A1 that's harder, and then this one removes shield buffs if she's under Veil or Perfect Veil. So I do see her being valuable for something like Faction Wars, but for me, while I do intend to play this account for a reasonably decent amount of time, I just know that any investment into, honestly, either of these champions, and this goes for Drexstar as well, I just don't know that I would get the return on my investment. But if this is your first account or your main free-to-play, or, you know, this is just like your most serious approach to a free-to-play account, by all means, you should get those champions. I just feel like by the time you get them, that their usefulness probably will have passed. So just keep that in mind and judge accordingly to your account. That's the best advice that I can ever give to anybody on a new account or a free-to-play account or whatever. Judge what's best for your account. Blanket rules and blanket statements don't always apply. As for my clan gold, I did not hit level 45 in order to do Siege, which would have been a massive boost for me because I am in my regular clan, which I don't know if they're winning Siege right now, to be honest, but I do know that we were scoring points at the very least, which means I would have had access to 6-star mythical gear. But for now, I think we can see if, let's try and get something good here. But my recommendation would be for you, if you had 250 gold and this was your shop to choose from, I would go for your Yakarl fragments. Again, I'm not going to do that, but that would be my advice if you were to ask. So what do we get here? Guaranteed 6-star piece. It's a helmet. I'm very happy to see a helmet piece because that has less likely of a chance to roll poorly. We come down here to Killstroke. Not great. You can kind of see it behind me. Defense, resistance, and crit damage. Yeah, that's honestly not a great piece. Gotta be real about it. That's not very good. A little disappointing there. I've had better luck off of getting those early pieces in the early game on other accounts that have given me a head start, and that one is quite a bit disappointing. So I think we can kind of wrap it up here. I think next time I'll probably try and target, hopefully I'll have Uugo to 60, and we can see what kind of improvements that makes to the account. The other big goal for me, and I've been trying to prioritize it, but you can see I'm just a little bit off of the pace, but getting this 5-star reward is very, very important for Ezio because Brimstone will be very, very good for you early on in this game for damaging and beating bosses. So being able to get Ezio a 5-star blessing, even if you only leave him at 5 stars, which is kind of my approach right now, we'll see what happens. If I don't pull anything good, Ezio is my next logical legendary choice. But I do think that a level 50 Ezio with that blessing could put in a lot of work for me against clan boss and other bosses of the like. So that is the update for the account. I've already used my Chimera keys as well, which I think that ends tonight. I don't think I scored particularly high. I probably went a little too early But I did get the novice chest, so I will get some rewards, including fragments for an amazing mythical in Empress, one that would really change the account. So it's probably only going to be one fragment since nobody in my clan does easy, but we're making progress, right? So hopefully I can work my way up to a slightly harder difficulty. It's going to take some time. Well, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. That's the best way to support the channel. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.